Welcome, everyone, to a Delco Nerd Network Rewind review, where we sit down and review some of our favorite film franchises of the past, and even some of our directors. On this season, we will be talking about a few different Chris Nolan movies. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Anthony the Gooch Ragucci.
And let me show you.
What?
I see. Okay, well now can you
I should probably be talking.
And we just fall out of our chairs. Amazing. And
the great Gucci.
the great Gucci, the great wonder.
Yeah.
And joining us once again, Aris. I'm so sorry, I meant to ask you this. How do I pronounce your last name again?
Honestly, for the health of everyone's sake, don't.
Don't even say it.
Yeah, you could say
Tzortzatos.
Tzortzatos.
Okay, I'm not gonna try again because
But he's putting the Greek.
You're putting the real flair on it. That
You say
it
Aris,
deserves.
it's like, I think people got the idea.
No,
I know
ya.
one person named Aris.
And he's right here. Yeah, no, same here.
Sadly, it's...
But yeah, we're here to talk about The Prestige, initially released on October 20th, 2006, with a rating of PG-13.
Post
Watching this
9/11.
back, I didn't check
9/11.
the rating. Post 9/11, indeed. I didn't check the rating, but I kind of half assumed it was R by the end.
Really?
I don't know why. I wasn't like for sure on it, but I was a bit surprised by the PG-13. With a production budget of $40 million, an opening weekend box office of $14.8 million, and a worldwide box office of $104.4 million.
There you go.
Not like a crazy number by any means, but and it is interesting because he was coming off of Batman Begins after this.
Yeah. So this is between Begins and Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's funny. Michael Caine, Christian Bale, kind of,
I mean, we'll get
being
into it.
Nolan staples now.
We'll get into it, but the cast in this movie, I just totally forgot how stacked it is. The screenplay was by Chris Nolan and Jonathan Nolan, his brother, and it was based on a novel originally written by Christopher Priest by the same name. And a little description for you guys. After a tragic accident, two stage magicians in the late 1890s London engage in a battle to create the ultimate illusion while sacrificing everything they have to outwit each other. It's a good one.
That's
I would
apt.
say. Yeah, very apt. But yeah, that's The Prestige, gentlemen. Let's get into it. What did we think of our second Chris Nolan film for this review? Aris, please start.
Oh, me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going.
Yeah.
So it was my first time watching this.
I love to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a great movie, and I think I have to watch it, mandatory a few more times, because it's so stacked, and you start recalling things of stuff that happened previously in the movie, where it's not like Memento, where it flashes back, except for, like, the one beginning scene,
Absolutely.
obviously. But, it was just, plain and simple, just, like, an awesome movie, and you're following along, and it has this build up, and you start to pick up all these hints when you get near the end, and you're like, oh my god, dude, like, why didn't I pick that up? I'm like, that's crazy, man. Like,
Yeah,
without
the
trying to
turn,
spoil it. Yeah.
Act 2 of the trick.
Yes.
I like that because it's like the whole movie is kind of like the turn.
No,
I mean, the very beginning is Act 1, and the very beginning the very end is The Prestige, right? But like that, I think once we get into like the actual Act 2 of the movie, like things just start twisting and turning, and you're like, whoa, what is going on here? And it keeps you on your toes. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. That's, you got it.
No, go for it.
That's it. That's all.
That's all you got?
Yeah,
All right,
for
Gooch,
like a
what about
small-
you? No, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, a huge
thoughts.
step up from Memento. Like, come on, like drastic change in quality here. Definitely going from, I think I was low tier movie from Memento to high tier film. Like, absolutely.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, but I love it,
Yeah,
Gooch. I love it.
This movie was fucking phenomenal, and I saw this movie probably when I was like 10 or 11. I watched this when it first came out. I remember watching it. Like, really, the only thing I recalled was the Telsa machines. I forget what those are called. The machines that radiate electricity. What are they?
Oh, those are Tesla coils.
Yeah.
Tesla coils.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember that, and I'm like, like Nikola Tesla's in this film, played by David Bowie, which is crazy.
We'll talk about him
he
later.
looks really good.
I didn't know that was him
And
when
he
I was
only
younger.
died like 13 years after this, and he looks good. Like,
he
he
does.
doesn't look old.
We'll talk about him a little bit more, actually.
Yeah. So this movie does have historical aspects. So, like, kind of thinking ahead with Dunkirk and Oppenheimer, like, there is a little bit historical fiction in this film.
Well, it's very, it's obvious. It's
a
very
period.
heavily based on the, like, magicians of the time with, like, Harry Houdini and all that stuff, truly, like, fighting tooth and nail to get these tricks and things like
and
that.
Prime
tapping into like the unknown science of the era. I love how they portrayed like fucking Tesla and fucking Edison, like
Yeah.
Edison's hitmen.
Well,
like,
dude, apparently-
I'm like, was this real? Was it?
It
Dude,
kinda
do you know-
was
was
he
actually
doing that?
Have you ever
about
watched the
AC and
YouTube-
DC voltage?
Yeah, so
I knew they
direct
were
current,
at odds.
alternate current. There was
Yeah.
there's a movie called Current Wars, which I wanted to see. Actually, it was with Edward Norton, maybe, but it's a very interesting. If you want to look up a YouTube video on it, I would highly recommend it. It's wild.
Yeah, I know they kind of went at each other, and obviously Edison really comes out on top because like I think if you went up
Direct
to like
current
10
won.
people,
Right.
like maybe like 3 or 4 could tell you who Nikola Tesla was. Like he's been kind of like forgotten in a manner of speaking.
And I don't know if this is for sure true, but I'm pretty confident Edison stole a lot of his shit. Was like that. That's kind of the big hubbub, right? Or is that or the?
Yeah, it's
I don't know. There was some like chicanery, definitely, even beyond what we saw.
Basically, I guess to sum it up is like Nikola Tesla was right. And it all like had the fact to do of how AC traveled farther than DC was
Right.
what it came down to.
So alternate current won in the end.
In
We're
the
all-
end, yeah, but
at
after
the
we
beginning-
established all this DC stuff with, and Nikola Tesla, because he ended up becoming like broke,
Yeah.
like towards the end of like second half of his
he really got
life.
fucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like
Because-
nobody talks about him in terms of like not like Edison,
No,
right?
'cause
No,
It's-
for
it's
sure.
a totally different
Absolutely.
conversation.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla basically, like AC current, like was deadly, because it was like uncontrollable and like
Right.
he killed
we
Which,
do
people.
see
which
that
shows
people-
in,
yeah,
in his
yeah.
machines, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like his machines were wild and almost something of sci-fi.
No, absolutely.
So stepping back from the history standpoint,
Reel it in.
I really loved like comparing the beginning of this movie and Memento because damn, it's the same fucking thing. We start at the end again.
It's true. Yeah, we
like-
start at the
Right.
big. We start at the reveal.
It's more
Almost.
like
Yeah.
maybe like not like the
3/4
very
of the
end,
way-
right?
yeah.
We're like almost there,
It's like I was like 7/8 of the way, maybe 6.
Right,
yeah,
right,
like sure,
right.
yeah, we're like right there.
right? And I'm immediately hooked in. There's some, the magician. Something's gone wrong. Who are these guys? Why did he murder him? What's going on? Unlike Memento, where I'm just watching some dude get murdered and I'm watching a bullet go back into a gun.
And then you're
Like-
also
Right.
and then you're just figuring out why this
like
all happened.
I was thinking, I'm engaged. I'm 20 minutes in, 10 minutes in. I'm engaged. I'm like, what's the difference here? And I think it's just the set pieces and the setup and the way the setting and what's going on kind of feeds into that. We're not just in a room killing a dude with no context. Like I do have some context to kind of go
Absolutely.
Right.
on. But yeah, stacked cast, really interesting group of people. Like young ScarJo coming in. I didn't.
Do you want me to
know
just
she was
read
in-
off some of the people? We
Go
got
for it.
Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson, Michael Caine, Piper Perabo, which some people might know. She's been in like some random
She's the
stuff.
wife, I
We're
assume?
she's the one who dies at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Hugh Jackman's wife.
Hugh Jack. all right.
Yeah.
Huge action.
Rebecca Hall, David Bowie, Andy Serkis.
Right,
I completely
seen
forgot.
him. Do you know
He
Andy
shows up-
Serkis is?
Which one's Andy
He's
Serkis?
He was
he's
the-
Tesla's assistant.
assistant.
Underling,
Okay,
yeah.
he
he's
looks familiar.
Gollum. He is Caesar in
Right.
the War of the Planet of the Apes movies. Like he's Ulysses
he's another
Claw
one.
on Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
okay,
rarely
all right.
plays himself when he's CGI.
for sure. He's
So-
been doing it. I feel like more in the past couple years, but he's a big like CGI like or motion capture like pioneer.
Yeah, I was like he would
people
probably
say.
like motion capture.
Yeah,
actor.
but no, just so many amazing names in this, and it's
Yeah.
funny. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman. What a thing I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
Looking back, but anything else, Gooch? Any broad thoughts?
No, Trio, what did you think, man? I assume you're probably in the same boat.
I mean, so I've seen this movie a lot. I was telling you guys, I feel like I have vague memories of watching this a lot with my dad, and I remember it pretty well, especially as it was coming back to me. But like watching it again, seeing all the little nuggets he leaves and all the little touches he puts down and trails to just follow, I fucking adored this movie, and it was so much fun to rewatch it and just get sucked back in. And for a 2-hour runtime, it deserves it. The movie looks great. Like you feel like you're in dingy, disgusting 1890s London. The fucking performances, Christian Bale, I think, and Hugh Jackman really do just. I don't know. I was gonna say this for the end, but by the end, like I don't know who I don't like less.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I think
was
they do a
questioning
good
it,
job
too.
of like just showing that these two guys are kind of both pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Like especially in the beginning because Christian he kills his wife. Like that's what you
Yeah,
think.
that was one thing. I'm like, why did he do that?
So there's a fan theory behind this. So all right, let's just say
is it like Bigger Luke?
I wish that's even better. But please look up Bigger Luke.
Homework.
There's a fan theory, and please, full spoilers for this movie. I just want to say off the bat, if you have not seen this film,
I mean,
go watch
go
this
watch
film.
it.
It's
I
like
know
it's over like 15
no,
years
I know,
old.
but
Like,
even
get
if,
fucking
like,
real.
No, absolutely. But that's why I still think this is deserving of just that. Like, we're gonna
The
spoil
time,
this,
yeah.
and I think it deserves your full attention if you're bored. But hey, if not, go back and rewatch it. The reveal of his brother obviously being his double, and they're both leading the life. Like, he asks him at the end, he's like, "Well, who was leading it?" And he's like, "We both were. We both were both." And there's just so many little like touches on that early on, and like. With especially the wife, she's like, "Some days I believe you love me,
yeah.
some days I don't."
That was it. I'm like, oh,
There's
it
Not
other
today, you know.
yeah.
And I forget where my original point was going, but
You were just saying with that twist of them being brothers and the breadcrumbs.
yeah,
that
there's
was
just
Yeah.
it's all there in front of your eyes, and going back and looking at it, you're like, "Oh my god, of course." Oh yeah,
And the goldfish.
yes,
too.
and the goldfish.
He's like that.
I
He's
have a fun
living
fact.
the act. Yeah.
I have a fun fact about that too at the end, which is
Wait,
very
the goldfish?
interesting. The goldfish man
The
at the
old
beginning.
man where he walks and pretends to be crippled.
He lives the act,
He
and
lives
that
the
is
act.
also the setup
Oh,
for
right, yes.
they are living this act,
Yeah.
and there's just-
the China guy.
yeah, the
Yeah.
China, yeah.
The Chinaman.
The
I don't think
Chinaman with
that's
the
a-
goldfish.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an all right term.
That's a
anymore.
that's a
But-
very
that's what they
early
call him.
which
19
is funny.
Yeah.
It's really either way. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many great reveals and so many little things. Oh yeah, I was talking about what like you don't really know which one's a piece of shit. Like Bale starts out like you killed his wife. That was it. The theory. There's a theory
Yeah.
that the man that was told to tie the other knot was the other brother.
Oh,
So
that
the
makes
other
sense.
brother
That makes
was the one
total
who tied
sense.
the knot, and he didn't realize. He didn't hear him say,
Because
"Don't
you see
tie
him like
that."
hesitate, and he's like,
Wait, what's this?
like
Yeah.
you're like, why is he hesitating? Well, he clearly, I'm like, you clearly know he did something different.
Exactly. So
Right.
there's that. Yeah, that's the theory that it was his brother, and then he goes like, "I don't know. I really don't know which one I tied." And I thought again,
Because
that's just an
then the
interesting
other
layer.
guy is at the wedding, and or
He's
the
like, "I don't know."
funeral,
The funeral,
and of
and-
course he doesn't know. He didn't do it.
For sure. Yeah.
And that was interesting. It's like because I'm like I'm like how like what you killed her? I'm like what do you
Like you
Like, what
know,
do you mean,
dude.
guy?
I'm like like well, how do you not know? And that's what Hugh Jackman's like. How do you not know? Like you just
my notes.
killed somebody.
Exactly.
Wow,
Like
that's
it
a
doesn't
good
it doesn't
fan theory.
it doesn't make any sense. Like why would you like that? I was missing a part there. Not that it was bad, but I'm like something
Because
something's
they
here.
again,
like,
I'm
this doesn't
watching
make
and
any
they
sense.
spend a lot of time on that knot talk. There's like at the beginning, he's like, "Don't tie that fucking bloody knot. It's not a good wet knot. Don't do it." And he's like, "Okay." And then yeah, that comes back obviously when she drowns. But it was a really interesting reveal, and like again, you can pick up so many little fan theories throughout this movie if you want to. But overall, I just fucking thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot of disguises. Just
Yeah.
men in disguises.
yeah.
Which I
Dress
don't know
up.
why I appreciate
Yeah,
it. It's
nothing
just-
like too crazy, but enough to like throw you off from a crowd or far enough away. Yeah, because I was surprised to see him like guised up and with the bullet
Yeah.
in the gun when he puts it back in.
I was
Because
watching-
they bring that up so much. It's like if somebody
Right, so
puts
what's
a
gonna
button or a
happen?
bullet and they say it like
Yeah,
3
you're
or 4
fucked.
times,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then they do it. He's like, oh, he's putting the bullet in. I'm like, did he not see that?
Ian did, well, and it's funny. I was
like,
watching with my roommate, and Ian's like, "Why is he mad?" And I'm like, "Because he shot him with the thing." He's like, "That was Hugh Jackman." I'm like, "Yeah." What do you mean? He got
Yeah.
engrossed in it with me too, which was funny. He's like, "This movie's so much better than I remembered." But yeah, I don't know. Who do you think's the bigger asshole by the end?
Borden,
You think so?
absolutely.
One of the Bordens, and almost I
was
think
gonna
if you were
say
to
both.
watch it back, I think you can slowly piece together which one's which.
Well, they
you
tell it
think about it.
absolutely.
Yeah, you probably
Yeah.
can.
Well, and even by the end, when the one's walking off, he's like, "You're right. I should have left him to his trick. I'm sorry about your wife." Like,
Right.
so the one who seemed to be magic obsessed seems to be the one who was killed.
Killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that then kind of trickles down, and you can go back through and watch the whole film and be like, I think you're absolutely right. Because the days she's like, "I don't believe you today," so that means that's the other brother.
Right.
That means it's the other one and stuff. So it's great little stuff. My thing keeps closing. The Tesla stuff. What did you think about that? Like just Bowie coming in and just giving like.
I thought
His
it was
performance.
cool. I mean, like, you got to figure, like, you're like, all right, he had the whole electricity and stuff like Borden
Sure.
acted, and you're like, so he actually did go and visit him, and then you figure out what happened with like the hats and the cat and whatnot
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And like
The cat's in the hat.
the hat, the cat in the hat. But like, I was like, dude, what's he gonna do with this? Is he gonna one up? Because it's all about one upping. So I was like, is he gonna have like him pop out of 3 different places now that he has like more clones, I guess,
For sure.
But like then to find out what he ends up using it for, and like Tesla's like warning him, like, yo, dude, like, relax on this. This isn't really what you think it is. It's not.
He's like, you can't convince me. Like,
Right.
you know, I'm a man with.
Well, at first I was like, why is he stealing his money? Why would he?
yeah, did you
Why,
not-
For funding.
why would he? Why would he do all this and then be like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna
Actually,
I'm
no.
not, yeah, I'm not gonna give you what you want." And then he like folds again, like within the same scene. I was like,
Well, no, I don't think he was folding. He's just like, it's not ready. Like, I'm trying to, like, I haven't ironed out all the kinks. And then he didn't realize that it was going outside, I guess, or something. That it was cloning it and just displacing it.
Right.
"Is that a real thing?
No.
Like, no, is
There
there
was-
some science or theory behind it?
I know he was
It's,
definitely
it's like
trying to-
translocation, right?
Yeah,
technically.
But again, I think like it just clones him and then creates the clone somewhere else nearby. So there's not an exact science to it. That's what he keeps saying. He's like, there's rarely an exact science. There's rarely an exact science.
But he didn't know it was cloning it in the beginning.
No.
Right, because he like the
Because
hats
Hugh
were
Jackman found out
Yeah.
walking outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just all
He
these
was-
cats
Well,
and hats.
that's the thing. He was trying to create a teleportation, and he's like, it's not the object's not moving.
It was cloning
So it's
it.
not work. So it's
Right,
not working.
right.
So I guess the idea is he didn't even think to go like, oh, I'm gonna look and see if there's another one around.
Right.
He was thinking it wasn't working because even Andy Serkis at the one point he's like I didn't run this test because it never moved or something like that. But yeah, I think that whole machine I think can go one of two ways because I mean he creates a replicator, and it's like Hugh Jackman, what are you gonna? You have a replicator,
And he's doing
Yeah.
this.
and then he's just doing it
his
with
last
he's just
show
magic trick.
is
Right.
100 days long.
And you know why it is? Because the idea is he's just trying, you realize by the end, he's just trying to lure in Borden to
Right.
frame him. And he's just like, I'm going to do 100 and hopefully he shows up. If he doesn't,
Oh,
that was
yeah,
the whole
okay.
idea.
That was the point.
That was the point.
Hence
yeah.
the first scene, which you don't understand fully because it looks like he killed him. Like
Or
they-
he's coming, well,
Yeah.
yeah, they set it up like he is coming up on it. Like, what the fuck? I'm just trying to figure out something
What was
here.
up with the blind guy down there? I know we're totally.
They
at the
explain.
end.
No, it's all right.
Talking
No, it's
about
all right.
the
We gotta
world.
jump around. No, we gotta hop around. He explains it by the end. They're blind stagehands because they don't want them seeing what's going on.
Right.
Now, if
And
Kane
that's
walks
why
in and he
Cutter, Michael Caine's character, he's like, you shouldn't have come backstage because he's cloning himself. And I was thinking, I'm like, is this water tank? Is he opening the trap door to just fool him to make him think that he's at? It's like he's being transported, but they're just opening the trap so Borden catches on that they're like
He's like,
there
There's
is
a trap
something.
And that's the
Or,
thing.
yeah.
He's
Right.
trying to figure it out. Like, I know it's the same person. How is he doing this? All we know is that he has a trap door, and he just
Right.
and his fucking envy just keeps getting the best
Right,
of him.
and they're moving the tank. Like,
And
can
I
you,
think
can you
they
imagine how much
didn't show-
money that would cost? 100 of those tanks.
Oh yeah, and just to
Again, if
kill
you
him.
start thinking, there are parts where if you really try to want to break down the logistics of this,
They have to dispose of 100 bodies and drown them all.
yeah. Well, again, and every time he does the performance, he kills himself.
No, you're good.
And he's
My
like, at
fuzzies
the
over
end,
here.
he's like, I don't know if I'm the one going in or if I'm going to be the one going in and coming out. And there is this kind of interesting chain because the first time he clones himself, he kills the other guy.
Yeah,
He,
we see-
The
we
guy
see that
in
at
the
end.
machine kills the man
So-
outside the machine.
Right, so
but then
but-
from then on,
Is the clone
him,
the one who, like, which one is which?
and I think they both think they're the original, is the whole thing. Like, they both believe in the moment that they are
Right.
the real, not new Jackman,
Angier.
original Jackman.
Jackman, yeah.
And
OG Jackman.
OG Jackman, old Jackman, if you will. And
Old man Logan.
he just keeps killing himself every time to basically make sure there's only one around.
And that's why the trap door is there, so he just drowns them.
For
to
sure.
live the act.
Yeah.
And this is all just born out of, I love the idea of it just all being born out of just pure envy. I mean, it starts with Borden killing his wife. And then he goes and shoots him in the hand. The Jackman goes and shoots Borden. Which, he was going to kill him. Right?
Right.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
he was, if
Yes.
what's-his-name didn't come in and hit the gun, he was going to
You're gonna shoot him
murder
in the
him.
chest, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Borden
I feel like if
too.
I was Borden at that point, I'd be like, I killed your wife. We'll call it
Yeah, like
even.
that's what
They
I don't
just
understand.
keep-
He starts it, so he's the bad guy. Like, why kill his wife? Like, what does he get out of that?
But again, I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was genuinely an accident.
But like, if he really was an accident, why would he then continue to kind of like he doesn't act very sorry about it? And then,
Well, he does. He comes and says
Angier's
sorry.
like, well, now you have a family and a kid. You took those things away from me. It does kind of look like he doesn't really care.
No, absolutely. Well, again, only one of those people, only one of the brothers killed him.
Yeah.
Right.
So
true.
that's the other part. The person, the
there's
guy,
50% care.
the man with
Yeah,
exactly the brother with that loves the family and has the child
Probably cares.
is the one who cared and is
And is
like
the one who
but
did not
who
kill.
probably didn't kill her,
Right.
and is really facing the brunt of all this. But he ends up actually living at the end and getting away with it. But his wife kills herself and all that, so
Yeah.
he suffers.
I kind of figured that was going to happen. Like, she's going to kill herself. 100%.
I do think there is this interesting plot element of like he's so committed to the bit. They are so committed to the bit
Right.
that they are living this life. And it's not like one of them are living each other. Like they said, they are both equally Borden and equally what's his name? I can't remember. Fuller or something. But
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
forget
pick
his
up on
name.
him at all througut the movie. His but like the
Yeah,
guy, like did you
yeah.
assume like
No,
you were just
dude.
like oh because from the beginning Michael Caine calls it. He's like how
It's
how
a
is he doing
double.
this trick? He's like it's a bloody double, and I'm like it is Michael Caine. It is.
And then the only thing that drew back my thoughts is when the chick said, like, what makes your trick different is the
Yeah,
hand
you have the
injury.
fingers. Yeah, she's like, no, it's the same person.
And then later on, when you see them, like, he puts a wooden dowel in his mouth, and they just, I'm like, damn, dude, the one who's getting his fingers chopped off, that's the dude committed.
And the girl, the wife goes, why is this bleeding? Again, there's so why is
'cause
this
it's the
bleeding again?
different one.
Because
Yeah.
he just cut it again a week
Right.
ago. So many little breadcrumbs
Hints, yeah.
that I really picked up
Really,
on.
just like, I mean, like, hey, like Nolan, I mean, like, I don't think the Batman series, maybe except for Dark Knight Rises, has like extremely smart writing. Like, maybe.
I think he's a great writer.
Let me take that back.
Yeah.
Maybe not in Batman Begins. Begins a pretty base movie, but in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises,
Well, it's-
there are moments of like, oh shit.
Well,
Yeah.
I
like
think
those twists
for
moments.
sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Batman Begins is much more of a straightforward plot,
Right.
and it's just done incredibly
There are
well.
flashbacks.
And there are flashbacks. But I mean, this movie, this is a fun fact. How many time jumps do you think there are in this movie?
That was interesting because I'm like, Cutter does say somebody says he goes away for 2 years and come back. So I'm like, oh, like Colorado Springs.
But
where
even in like
Tesla is.
Right.
like from scene to scene, there's 140 time jumps in this film.
Really?
What?
Back
Wow,
and
they
forth
did
of,
it
like,
smooth.
The fact how much this
Because
movie
it almost
really,
probably doesn't matter. Weeks,
how much
months.
this movie, well, not even necessarily like.
I mean,
that.
look at the daughter. She grows
Yeah,
up to maybe
exactly.
4 or 5 or 6.
Right.
This movie's so well told that you don't even realize
Right,
it,
you don't care.
and it just and even time jumps in the way of like. Sure, it's moving forward in time, but like it starts at the end of the movie at the beginning, and you're seeing like things in different perspectives.
Well, once we start at the beginning, we start as Angier's going to Colorado Springs to recruit
to go to Tesla.
Tesla and
yeah.
get the Tesla coil.
A lot of
replicator.
journal reading of each other's journals in this movie, a lot more than I remembered. Because at the beginning, it's Borden reading Angier's journal about him reading Borden's journal.
Yeah.
And then it's like by the
a
end,
journal
it's
within a journal.
Yeah, it's
Inception.
interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's how the whole novel is structured, though.
Real quick, I do want to comment.
Yeah,
There's always this Nolan audio thing, and in this movie,
you found it, or you found that it was the same.
I found that the dialogue is sometimes is really low, especially
Mm.
when they're reading the diaries. I'm like, I can't fucking hear what
Interesting.
you're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't notice that a ton in this one, but I do notice that a lot more in his newer films. That's like a big criticism with Nolan now. Is
I think
It's just not
and
well
Dunkirk
balanced.
apparently is loud as shit.
well, I know that was a big complaint in Tenet too, and especially in the theater. But yeah, Chris Nolan, he apparently just likes doing it that way for some reason. I don't really understand it. I do want to talk about the costumes and just the sets and the way of like it looked so. I loved Hugh Jackman walking around the street. He's got his top hat on. He's got his nice satin suit. And everyone
Right,
just looks
yeah.
really good. And then Borden looks all disgusting and dirty.
No
It's very-
showmanship.
It's very slobs versus snobs in a lot
And
of
then
ways.
The twin looks like even shittier.
For
know?
sure, yeah.
How about the Angier double? That was definitely another actor.
No,
You think
it's him. No, it is him.
it is him?
Yeah.
Oh, the drunk dude was.
Dude,
Yeah,
was
dude,
Hugh?
it looks like another
So
guy.
they changed a few little things on.
Yeah,
I'll
his
jump.
chin's a little
Where-
different.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
nose too. Like he had like a bump.
So Hugh Jackman
is that a fun fact?
It is a fun fact.
Yeah.
We'll jump ahead a little bit here. Hugh Jackman is fitted with prosthetic earlobes while playing the character of Robert Angier's British lookalike double, in contrast with Hugh Jackman, who doesn't have earlobes. So I guess
we have the same type of earlobes.
I think he kind of he put his mouth forward a little bit too. That like changes his jawline a little.
Yeah,
I think
because I was just staring. I'm like, it's a different dude. I'm like, it really looks like a different guy.
The double shots in this, after watching The Flash especially, how do they do it so well? Like it looks so good.
It
Like
looks seamless.
I'm curious how they must just film 2 separate plates and layer them on top of each other. But it just looks so good, especially in
there's
this
not
quick
that
moment.
many scenes where like they're like standing there,
No,
like,
there
touching
aren't.
each other's face.
For sure, but
Because
there's
he's
a
on
good
the
moment.
couch and like the other dude.
Right,
was,
and
like,
they're
But
yelling
even
back
with
and
Bale,
forth. Yeah.
like they double him up in a couple scenes. Of course, not a ton, but enough. It's just it was very interesting and very well done in that respect. Blind Sage Hands, we covered that. Duplication, we covered that. Michael Caine's character, what do we think about him?
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Kind of a piece of shit, I guess.
Sort of, but
He's the only one that's not obsessed.
Yeah, but he clearly takes a side. Takes Borden's side.
But he takes Borden's like
I don't get that.
good guy side, like by the end, because
Yeah.
he knows Borden had another
Anthony
one.
Bourdain's in this.
And the
Cooking
shitty
up.
guy who seems to have done all the shitty stuff to Angier and kind of deserved some of what he died. He was hung. So
Right.
I think by the end, Michael Caine's like, listen, I get he killed your wife. I don't think he did it on purpose. He's got a daughter. Like, you're gonna let him hang. Like all this stuff. Like, I get it. You're rivaling assholes, but like, come on. I do think by the end, Angier's kind of set up like more of the villain.
Yes, but I don't agree with it.
But like, I do think it's well balanced enough to the point of where I kind of think they're both pieces of shit.
I do.
Like, I
Right,
do,
yeah.
because like, I get it. Angier's pissed off. His wife died. But like,
But then he
You don't
eventually
know.
said he like doesn't care about his wife
they
anymore.
both had moments where they could have pulled back by
Right.
the end, and they didn't. And especially Borden, by the end, he couldn't leave well enough alone, and he took the bait that Angier wanted him to take.
One thing you kept bringing up, and we're talking about the rivalry.
No, I
I think it's really rare to see quite the rivalry between two characters like this. You know, obviously we have our heroes and our villains, but like these are like essentially two colleagues,
Sure,
just
they still-
kind
yeah.
of going back and forth with one another with like the
Trying
complete
to
and
one-up
utter
each other.
savagery.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're just two guys. Like, there's nothing special about these two people.
Yeah,
they're dedicated. They're obsessed.
Dedicated magicians.
They're
Yeah.
definitely, you know, like there's some zeal there, but like I don't know. I just found it really compelling. Yeah, you know, it's not like a Marvel movie where it's the good guy versus the bad guy, and
It's not melodramatic. It's not like Star Wars, where there's
something
clearly the
taken
good and the
out
bad.
of there's
Yeah.
something taken out of it that actually adds to it.
Well, no, that's what, again, these are more very much a gray type of film in the way
Yeah,
of, it's not,
yeah.
like I said, melodramatic where
Right.
you have the dark side and the light side.
Right.
You know, like it's not very
Yeah, 'cause
easy to
you-
call.
You
eventually-
definitely make your own opinion about
course.
it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, you eventually see Hugh Jackman just like it's like a nice fade into like
Yeah.
him basically turning into Borden's obsession. Like,
Yeah.
So they just it's just so smooth. And
Well-
I did like the 140 cutbacks.
Absolutely. And you see even Hugh Angier's kind of like slide down to like the mud, because at the beginning he's like, I'm not going to kill this pigeon. Like, come on, I don't want to do. And then by the end, he's kidnapping Pharaoh. Like I totally forgot about that part where
Yeah,
he like
buried him
falls to the
alive.
thing and he buries him alive to get the trick. I'm like, see, that's where like Angier starts to like. I'm like, dude, just leave it. Like there's a part where
Let it go,
Michael
man.
Caine's character, he's like, it's when Angier's double wants more money, and he's like, just stop the trick. Stop the trick. You're on top right now. Keep doing the other things. You're winning. You're
Right.
at the top. You don't need to do anything else.
Oh.
And he's like, no, we keep doing the trick. Pay him whatever he wants, and we'll figure it the fuck out. We need to figure out how he does it, and then we got it.
Right.
And again, Kane's like, it's a fucking double, which I did love how much throughout the movie he's just like, that's what it is, you idiot. It's really good.
Michael Caine's always right.
Michael Caine is always right. And God, I hope
Listen
he
to
acts
him,
till he
man.
can't act no more.
Yeah, like the one going back to the bird thing. I love like the vest thing they used for that trick.
So
Felt like
many
just-
cool little props.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. I'm like, I would imagine that's probably based on something that really
100%.
existed.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. It's funny. Well, what I was gonna say was like when Borden goes on stage with the trick when they both have their hands on the box and he just fucks the lady's hands on.
Well,
like,
again,
oh,
that's
yeah.
where like,
Jesus.
I think Borden could have been
he's
like,
like,
all right, I got my finger shot off. I killed his wife. Let's call here. But then he goes back and he's like, no, I'm gonna fuck up your day.
Snaps the
and he
bird
breaks
cage.
the
Right.
girl's
Yeah.
and then he
messes.
and then he kind of gets to the double and like persuades him to kind of to take power, and he fucks up and he's like, go across the street to what's his name, the professor.
Yeah.
Bad name. I like the great Danton.
Danton.
Yeah.
It's French.
It is French. How did you like the reveal of ScarJo being a two-time and?
I mean, she did it for.
Did you see it
love.
come? I know, but did you see it coming? Like,
No,
did you?
no.
Because
No.
I thought it's so funny. Even looking back, I couldn't quite remember what the reveal was on that end. She comes in and he's like, he accuses her, of course, of actually working with Borden now. And then she gives him the journal, and that reveal of when he's like, "And now you're reading my journal," and you know, the look on some great acting by Hugh Jackman of just pure, just like, what? Fuck.
What the?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, like he starts to almost tear up, like, because then it's really great stuff. It really is. Anything else like specific you gentlemen want to get into?
There was something else I wanted to bring up. We don't really see a lot of like magician movies, so I think this is a pretty cool like niche.
For sure. This
Like-
was released the same year as The Illusionist.
Yeah, The
Which is
Illusionist
so
is
funny.
the
It's a very
other.
Which I
similar
also
film.
haven't seen. We talked about this.
Yeah.
And
last
that
time,
Edward Norton is in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it similar?
Similar-ish plot in the way of like it's like magicians trying to keep their secrets and
Yeah,
you know in the same
and
time
then I
and all
think
that.
like the most
Are
modern.
they one up in each other too?
No,
in that movie?
I think it's more just about one magician rather than like a rivalry. But I can't remember for sure.
I think the more modern magician movie is Now You See Me,
Nice, yeah.
right? With
Yeah, sure,
Eisenberg
yeah.
and I think Woody Harrelson.
That is
in
absolutely another magician movie.
Yeah, but like there's not
Yes.
factually yes. There really aren't many of them.
Well,
is there like
I'm sorry, Gooch,
Is
you
there a
forgot
biopic
about
on Houdini?
yeah. There's also a
Like a good one.
there's a I think they did I think they did
Like
one
an
with
odd-
Adrian Brody on like Discovery or something. It was like
Because that seems like Harry Houdini is.
Gooch, I
pretty
think you're
cool
forgetting
figure.
one of the most seminal magicians
Penn and
films
Teller?
ever. The Great. Fuck. What is it called?
Oh, the
Burt
Wonderstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brain rapist. You know, like, where it's like with Jim Carrey.
That
actually-
movie's probably not that funny, but I remember it actually enjoying it somewhat. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting kind of time to explore, and even like looking into the history, like we talked about earlier, of people were at each other's throats at this time, especially in the entertainment industry.
Industrial Revolution.
You're trying to
Yeah.
keep at. You want to get the big theaters where you're making the most money. You want the fame. Like it was very cutthroat. I think actually The Illusionist might be based on B.T. Barnum, or P.T. Barnum or whatever too. I don't. I might be wrong on that, but it's
Isn't that
it's
The Greatest Showman?
That's all right. So that's what I'm getting.
But that's not he's not a magician. He's
No,
just
he's a piece of shit.
entertainer.
also Hugh Jackman.
Absolutely,
He's
that
also
guy.
Hugh Jackman.
He's also Hugh Jackman, but I'm pretty confident the real P.T. Barnum was an absolute trash individual. But
Yeah.
either way, yeah, so many good little things in this movie. I cannot recommend it enough. I kind of feel bad if you kind of got all the reveals from us here already, but please go watch
I would
it.
hope you've seen the movie.
I would have hoped so too.
a
Anything
good
else,
movie.
guys, we want to talk about that I'm missing? I feel like we kind of actually kind of organically hit.
No.
No, that
notes
was
here.
it. It's a pretty like. Even though it's like a twisty turny movie, it's pretty like easily contained. Like,
Well,
it's not,
but
like,
it's
we
easy.
just
I
discussed
think
it,
it's
like,
easily comprehensible for how much is really going on when you think
Right.
about it.
Right.
Like it does a great job of like, yeah, you get it. Like you're not going like it's you want to watch it again for sure, and you're gonna get more. But I think the first time around, you're like, this was pretty great.
Yeah. I think the only thing that made me think, and then I kind of stopped myself because I was like, I don't think that's part of it. Is like the last scene is when he's walking away, it zooms in on the two tanks that have Hugh Jackman in them.
Yes,
You know,
it
it's,
does.
so I was like, I don't know. Does he have a dude like hiding in the like another Hugh Jackman in the background that just watched all this and just decided like, all right, you guys use the replicator, you guys do the show, and then whoever dies, you know. But like,
It's an interesting thought. I don't think that's kind of a layer they
Yeah,
were
it's,
thinking,
like,
but
too
still,
much, yeah.
No, I like that. I like the thought. There's a third Jackman.
third
yeah.
Jackman,
Yeah.
Prestige 2's coming out next year.
A quad jack.
Quad Jackman. yeah.
Quad Jackman.
New Jackman, two Jackman,
Old Jackman.
Three Jackman.
Quinn Jackman.
Quinn Jackman, a quintuplet. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to some fun facts. So this is kind of more on the history. The intense rivalry between the two lead characters mirrors the competitive nature of the film industry itself, making it a metaphor for the challenges and sacrifices filmmakers face in their pursuit of excellence.
Did Chris Nolan say that?
I think so. I don't know.
It sounds like something he would say.
So I thought this was actually really funny. So the man at the beginning, the Chinese man at the beginning of the movie,
Chinaman.
is based.
There's no. I know it's an
I'm
old
pretty
term.
confident that's a bad. Stop saying. Either way,
I'm a good guy.
which I like them. Okay, no.
That's a pre
Chung
9/11 term, by the way.
yeah,
Definitely.
pre 9/11.
So that man Chung Ling Soo was based on a real person. He was a stage performer and a character created by William Ellsworth Robinson, a white man who disguised himself as a Chinese man to cash in on audience enthusiasm for the exotic at the time.
Yeah.
Robinson lived as Chung, never breaking character in public until he died in March of 1918 when a bullet catch trick went wrong and his only spoken
always
words
do.
were, "My God, I've been shot." They were both his last words and the only spoken English words he's ever said in public.
Wow.
Dude, that is commitment.
Can you
dude.
imagine?
He lived the bit. He lived the bit.
I mean,
bit.
Teller is the one who doesn't talk, right? Of Penn and Teller.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he can actually talk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But like he doesn't.
No, he lives the bit. Dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. It's maybe not. They're probably, obviously they're like
Well,
probably
and I
some
feel
of the
like
most
it's a lot
famous
easier
magicians.
back at that time too,
Yeah.
where it's like you're not really no one's gonna pull out a camera if you're out of character and something
Right.
you're.
Right.
Everything's not scrutinized under a microscope, you know.
Absolutely. This was actually, I thought, a really fun one. I didn't notice it in the moment. When Andy Serkis's character, Allie, is introduced, he makes a reference to a magic trick in which one person guesses the item in a person's pocket. The same trick fooled Serkis's character of Gollum in The Hobbit. That's like what happened. He plays that game with...
Right, what's in his pocket.
Yeah, he's like, what's in my pockets?
Yeah,
I thought that was
in
fun.
The Hobbit or
It's in The Hobbit. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
in the
when,
first Hobbit.
It's when he gets the ring from him,
Yeah,
Bilbo.
yeah. That's
So,
funny, actually.
a little Bowie stuff here. David Bowie initially declined the role of Nikola Tesla in Christopher Nolan's film, but Nolan personally convinced him to accept it, believing Bowie's charismatic presence would enhance the storyline about Tesla inventing a teleportation
I
machine.
don't know if it's charismatic. It's more mysterious.
Sure, yeah.
You know, he like seems like a
his larger than life kind of, presence.
Persona,
Yeah.
And I think, apparently he was like very heavy. He's like, I want him, or I don't know if I even want to do this movie if we can't get him.
Wow.
So pretty interesting stuff there. So Rick Jay, the only genuine magician in the cast of The Prestige, served as the film's magic consultant and trained Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale in sleight of hand techniques, despite his character being a terrible magician in the movie. He's the guy at the beginning where he's like, they're working for, and he's like, he's a shitty magician. He doesn't do anything new.
yeah.
So he was a real magician, and he was their only consultant on set, which was interesting.
pretty cool way to kind of incorporate him into the movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they call him a shitty magician, but it's fine.
I mean, yeah, it's just a character.
No, of course, I'm joking. So, adapting novels to film, of course, requires adjustments. Christopher Nolan made some changes when adapting The Prestige. One major alteration was removing a modern-day subplot involving Angier and Bourdain's descendants, likely to streamline the 2-hour run.
Yeah, that would have been maybe pushing the line a
Yeah,
little bit.
Absolutely. The elaborate laboratory used for Nikola Tesla's experiments was constructed on a massive scale. It was a fully functional set with working electric devices.
I knew it.
Adding to the authenticity of the film.
Fucking Nolan,
Again,
dude.
Nolan.
Over the top.
Well, it's just he wants it to be in frame as much as he can, and I do appreciate that. Especially like it just feels like you're in an actual place. You're not on a bullshit like green screen or something.
Right.
Like
I mean,
that.
it seems like films like Inception and Interstellar is where he really had to fold on that.
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah.
Whereas
of
like,
course.
all right,
How you gonna film in space?
right, we gotta use CGI here.
For sure, but I mean, even still, like when he's on the ships and stuff, like very much real sets and things like that. When you're showing, of course, like you're going around the black hole or whatever, you need that CGI shot. But I'm actually really excited to talk about Interstellar. I guess that's be
next?
our next one.
Yeah,
that's
good timing for
wild.
Starfield. Too.
Absolutely, yeah, lines right up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps us up. I think. Can you take us
That
out?
does wrap us up. Guys, if you're not watching live, which you aren't, but you can usually watch us live at twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network or youtube.com/Delco Nerd Network. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Delco Nerd Network, at Delco Nerds on Instagram, Twitter,
All the good stuff.
TikTok, yeah, Threads, if you know.
Red 2.
We're gonna be Pornhub.
I didn't set up our account yet. So continue.
You can find all this information at DelcoNerdNetwork.com, as well as you can join our Discord there, join the fun conversation. We'll be talking a lot about Starfield recently. That still should be accurate probably by the time
I'd say so.
This goes live. But fellow magicians.
Abracadabra gooch.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm looking for like a something cool to say, but it's not common. For Trio, for Aris, I'm Gooch. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we'll see you next time.
That was The Prestige.
Follow the boys, man.